Well, Jeff, here is what you've been waiting for so long. This is probably going to be quite a long video because it's twice the amount of strings, and I normally don't scream and yell too much. The Kramer I do because of the floating bridge, and I even got a new pair of glasses today, so I see better. Anyway, here we go. First, I'm going to loosen all 12 strings. Sometimes I leave one on just for reference, but I'm not gonna this time. I would normally use a peg winder, but this place is a wreck and I don't know what I did with it. I'll have you know, just before this, I took my guitar outside and I sat on the bench by the bus stop there, and I wrote like a real happy sounding song. So I'm not gonna play it during this video because this video is you probably won't be able to play the whole thing on your show. If you do, I'll be amazed. But it's a happy little song, and since my Hellcat really wanted the strings changed, and I have to put some stuff on the neck because it's getting kind of dry. I don't really have the stuff that I'm supposed to put on there, but I found over the years what works really great is certain furniture polishes. I forget the name of the one I use. My mom always had it in the house, and it's still here to this day. She's not, but it's here. I forget what it's called. Something oil. Works great. Works really great. I've been using it on my fretboards for the last 48 years. But I am also lazy, so it wasn't just 48 years. I did it more than once a year. Not much more though. But this is my baby, and I am treating my baby well. The worst part really is unwinding and rewinding the strings. Otherwise it's just like a 6 string, just 6 more. Not too bad to tune either. Now the floating bridge on my Kramer, which has the locking system on both sides, and the bridge, each one is independent. You get all the strings on, you tune it up, and by the time you finish tuning it up, you have to start over again. And it takes multiple times until finally you get it in tune. I tried everything. I tried first the low E string, then the high E string, then the A, then the B. I tried everything. But I was never able to tune that guitar in under 45 minutes. I don't think this one will take that long. That's loose enough. I just don't want to take, well, I'm wearing glasses, wouldn't take an eye out anyway. Normally I don't even do this, but it is easier, and most people I know do it. I'll just do it 2 at a time since it's a 12. Some people do them all at once. I don't want to do that because I don't want to hurt my baby. Ooh, I never noticed that. 1, 2, 3, 4 Hellcats, but the 12th fret has 2 skulls. I'm surprised I never noticed that. I guess I'm too busy playing it. The real hard part is yet to come. I hate doing it because I use these wire cutters to do it. That's taking out these pegs. Oh, and I hate that too. They never glue the nut in, so let me put it on the side so I don't drop it 50 million times, and then you will hear me curse. That's happened before. Some guitars, they glue the nut in place. This one apparently not. should have brought a, oh, wait, I have one. Haha. And I'll dump it when I'm done. Definitely don't want to step on any of these barefoot. As Jeff, somehow I get the feeling you already know. So do I. I also have stabbed countless fingers with my E and B strings. It's like a fucking syringe. Pardon my French. I forgot that this is going, we're going to go, possibly go live. You can bleep that out. I don't think I've ever used that word since I'm on your show. Which is coming up on 8 months now. I still can't believe it's that long. When I last checked, it was like just over 7 months. I couldn't believe it. I figured it out by watching all my covers, and I remember when I started doing originals on the show, because I used to do, if you remember, mostly covers. I figured them out as fast as I possibly could. I didn't practice a thing, and Lord, were there a lot of mistakes. But it was a lot of fun, and they were very entertaining. There's no denying that. And to this day, I make mistakes even on my own originals, because I could tell you that I practice however many times a day or a week or a month, but I would just be lying to you. I don't ever practice. I haven't practiced in the 48 years I'm playing guitar. Never, ever, not once. I just pick it up and play. It's just always been that way. And bass is even easier. After 18 years of playing rhythm guitar, and I picked up my first bass, I realized I'm actually a bass player who plays guitar. I am not a guitar player who plays bass. You can hear the difference. It's a very distinct difference. Those guys play the bass like it was a guitar. A lot of them even use picks. I don't. I think that's blasphemy, using a pick on a bass. Unless you play like, death metal, stuff like that, which would make it kind of hard to use your fingers. But I'm a very melodic bass player. I like to slide around the neck a lot. I like to use notes that really don't belong, much like I do with my originals on my guitar. And people used to come up to me all the time, especially at the open mics. I used to be the house bass player at an open mic, and everybody that went on the open mic would always ask me, Kev, would you play bass? So I'd be like, sure, what are your 3 songs? So they would tell me, and I wouldn't always know the songs. I mean, I've heard them, but I didn't always know them. So I would say, well, I don't know those songs. And they would get all sad and go, aww. And I'd stop them and say, hey, I said I didn't know them. I didn't say I couldn't play them. It was amazing. It truly was. By the end of their 3 songs, they would come up to me and say, are you sure you didn't know those songs? And a lot of people ask me, how do you learn songs so quickly on bass? I've never seen anybody pick up a bass and learn a song as fast as you. Easy. I don't. When it comes to like signature parts, it's almost like I have a photographic memory. All my roots are in place. All signature parts are in place. Everything in between is all me. It's not the actual bass line. And 90% of the time, what I play sounds better than the actual bass line. So I've amazed quite a few people by cheating. I did the same thing when I was in junior high school. I started playing tenor sax. My music teacher in 7th grade told me I was playing tenor sax, and I was like, okay. And we started, playing stuff, and I discovered early on that particular instrument, in treble clef, I found a pattern. If you went, I hate this. There we go. If you went like 1 finger up, or I got it backwards. If it went from like, let's say, a line to the space right above it, it's one finger up. If you go from one line to the line above that space, it's two fingers up, and so on, and the same in the other direction. So I found the pattern. So I actually was able to sight read. My teacher couldn't believe it because I only played tenor sax at that time for under a week. So he made me lead tenor sax. And let me tell you something. If he put me any closer to the edge of the stage during school shows, I would have fallen off. And back then, I had the most horrible stage fright you could ever imagine. So that was not a good thing for me. I'd be shaking. The vibration of the reed on my bottom lip after a while would numb my bottom lip, so I'd be like, oh, it was horrible. And then after that, after junior high school, I used to just cut music class in high school because I didn't like the teacher, and I knew I had that terrible stage fright, and my bottom lip would get numb if I played any shows. So I used to spend my time tripping on acid in the park across the street. Did a lot of that then. I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes do still. But, and I had a tenor sax. I would play it at home. My uncle bought me one, and then a friend who actually plays flute for the New York Philharmonic asked me to borrow it. Must have been about 16, 17 years old. Well, I didn't see him or it since. So that was the end of that. It was a Martin tenor sax too. It was not cheap. But my uncle, he was a wheeler and dealer. He picked it up at a flea market. So that was the end of my sax days.
Kevin?
Yeah.
Did you see the glasses that were in?
Yes, I took them by accident. I forgot to put them back. Here you go.
I was looking.
See, I'm not doing music right now, so I don't have to start over.
I know. And that's all right. I don't mind, but I just wanted to know. Because
Yeah, no, I meant to bring it back before I started this.
No problem.
But I forgot. I'm getting old timers. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I digress. At right around 12, just turning 13, I got my first guitar, a 1970 Fender Music Master, which my mother bought from a guy that it was her friends, but their son gave me a couple of lessons, but it was his guitar. My parents bought it for $30. Well, later on, much later on, I have a friend named Chris Ambagis, who owns the American Guitar Museum up in New Hyde Park, New York. He was also a guitar teacher, and one of the people who worked for him taught me a little bit also at his place when he had it on Union Turnpike in Queens. He also wrote a column in Guitar World magazine. So he was pretty well known. He used to work on George Benson's guitars. As a matter of fact, the grand opening in the museum, George Benson came, and I met him. And I was there with a good friend. He was my best friend at the time. His name was Vinny. But he was a black guy. So here comes George Benson in this beautiful 1966 Cadillac convertible, tail fin and everything. Beautiful car. Looked like it was brand new. We're talking. I shake his hand. I'm like, oh, dude, you're such a great guitar player. This, that, the other thing. And then my friend Vin walked over, and I said, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Vinny. So he said, Vinny. I said, yeah, he looks Italian, don't he? Boy, did he crack up. I don't think he ever forgot me. Hold that thought. I'm going to go get that special furniture polish I use. It's right here. I'm sure you can still hear me, and I really hope it's here, because if not, I'm going to end up using Endust. Which I've used before too, and it actually works well also. And it looks like that's what I'm going to be using, because my mom is now gone about 14, 15 years, so I'm guessing that furniture polish hasn't been here since. But Endust does actually work good. There's no wax. It's like cleaning your furniture. And really, that's all a guitar really is it's a piece of furniture that you could play. Like a piano, except it's not a harp inside a box. And I'm not going to just do the neck, I'm going to do the whole body too. Not too heavily. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And I'll put that down right there. And I will use a shirt that I know I didn't sweat in. Because I don't know what happened to my cheesecloth. I have several of them, and let's just say I'm not a neat freak. And most people of my persuasion are. I am not. Most people of my persuasion don't believe I'm of that persuasion. If you're wondering what that is, you're a smart man. You're all smart. I'm sure you'll all figure it out. I know at least one of you know. Joel knows, because he saw a video I did that I dedicated to somebody. It took him a little by surprise. I'll never forget that day. That was funny. But I've been single a few years now. I have a feeling I'm going to stay that way. But if something should arise, if somebody should turn up, I definitely, well, and it's just somebody I would be into, I'm definitely not going to say no. Oh, and if you figured out what I'm talking about already and you're trying to figure out which one I am, whichever one you think I am, it's the opposite. I know that's an even bigger shock. A good friend of mine almost had a heart attack when he found that out. It's funny the things I was shocked when I didn't really talk about that until I moved down here to Florida and my ex-wife left me. And she got really worried about me, that I was going to be all upset and be sulking at home because she left me. And I was like, well, Alice, there's something I think you need to know. Boy, did she get mad at first. But she got over it quick. We were still good friends until she went back to New York to her true stereotypical battle axe mother-in-law, who hated me. And then her worst nightmare came true. She turned into her mother. But not anymore. She actually contacted me on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. She heard one of my songs, because I post on Facebook and Instagram as well. And apparently she liked it. And she complimented me, so that was the first time she spoke to me. The last time I spoke to her, it was a nightmare. So I said, so you don't hate me anymore? And she said, no, I don't hate you. She says, I've lost enough friends. I don't want to lose any more. So I was like, well, good, because you'll never lose me as a friend. I was always your friend. You just hated me. I didn't hate you. Funny part was, when I first met her, I thought she was a boy. Very tomboyish. And we had a mutual friend, and he introduced us. And when he brought her over, he said, Kevin, I'd like you to meet my friend Alice. Well, like I said, I've always known. So, in my head now, because there was no closet deeper than the one I was in. In my head, I'm like, Alice. It was a week before my 30th birthday. For the first time in my life, I was confused. And we spent the next 6 years together. It got old after the first. Interesting. But, 5 years after the first, she just didn't want to be married anymore, and she left me. I was happy about that because I did not have the heart to do it. The only thing I wasn't happy about was she aborted twice, so I would have had 2 children, like 29 and 31, or 30 and 32, something like that. But she didn't want children, so she aborted. But I guess all good things happen. for a reason. Because I am certainly in no shape. Although they'd probably be taking care of me now. But the way my life went, it wouldn't have been fair to them. So, it's been a long time since I've changed 12 strings. I had one once before, ended up in a pawn shop. Jeff, I'm sure you know why. Huh? EBGDAE. What? Okay, this is weird. The package, you're not going to believe this. It's supposed to be the same as the 6 string, just different octaves, except for the B and the high E. They're the same. Oh, E, first, oh, 6th E. Wait a second. And then it says the 7th string is a B, and the 8th string is an F sharp. No. No. Alright, let me see. The first E is silver, and the 6th E is brass. So the colors are normal. Let's start with the high E's. You're probably getting bored already. I'm sure anybody watching this probably turned it off by now, unless you're actually being entertained. I do love to entertain. You should have seen me when I was on stage playing bass. Whew. People love me. Other bands used to come just to see me. Forget the rest of the band. They used to come to see me. And they would all crowd around me during breaks. Just me. And all asked me if I wanted to be a bass player in their band. And I was a showboat. I told my partner at the time I do not dance except with my bass. And dance I did. I was all over that stage. And I'd play over the top of the neck, whole songs. I mean, I used to do stuff that... And then weird things too. I don't know how many E strings I've broken in mid-song. A couple of A's also. But I never missed a fucking... There it is again. Sorry about that. I never missed a note. And that really amazed people. I had one guy saw me years later when I lived in Coral Springs, and I went to Sam Ash to get something. And him and his wife walked out of Sam Ash, and I hear, hey. I turn around, I'm like, yeah? Aren't you that bass player that used to play at the Chocolate Moose? I was like, wow, that was like 7-8 years ago. You got good memory. That guy asked me for my autograph. Imagine that. I couldn't believe it. I was happy. But, I was at that place for 4 different owners. The 4th owners, I left. They were horrible. They changed the whole place. But it was a great place. That open mic, as a matter of fact, Jeff, your community, this community reminds me of that open mic. We all helped each other. Nobody was better than anybody else, although, it was a lot of fun. I played bass for literally anybody who asked me. There was only one guy that got mad because I warned him in the beginning. It was his original song. And I heard the bass in my head the first time I heard him play it. And I told him, I said, dude, yeah, I'll play bass. But I'm telling you right now, the way I'm going to play the bass is going to change the whole sound of the song. It's not going to be the same song. So I played it. Everybody in the place loved it. They thought it was his best song he ever wrote. He didn't have me play bass for him ever again. He couldn't stand it. It was great though. It really was. I liked it myself. If he didn't actually write it, I would have kept it. But I am no thief or plagiarizer or whatever you want to call it. See what I mean about these? It's tedious. It's tedious work. Also, something I don't do, or something I actually do as I'm winding up the strings that some guitar players don't do until after, and some don't do it at all, Ian, is I kind of measure the strings and cut it before I even put them on the pegs. So I don't take an eye out. And it just looks better. But this is probably the worst part. Putting the strings in with the pegs on a 12 string, trying to figure out which ones are the right ones. Green. Yeah, the green is easy to tell because one's brass and one's not. One's wound and one's not. The E's and the B's are the hardest because they're identical. But I'll tell you what, if I had $1 for every string on a 12 string that I put in backwards, I wouldn't ever have to work again in my life. I haven't worked the last 3 years. I probably never will work again in my life. I'll just live poor. Money-wise, anyway. But I'm far from poor in spirit. And I consider my job to encourage and inspire, especially young people, as much as I can. And the younger they are, the more I inspire them. And I'll tell you what, over the last few years, I've seen it do its work. And quite a few of them have actually thanked me. So I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I just don't get paid for it. Also, I talk to a lot of people, you know, like in a psychology sort of way. I've had multiple psychiatrists and psychologists tell me that I should actually go to school and get licensed in that field. But I love people so much, I would feel bad to charge them. I'd rather just stay poor. What's next? Black. Not being racist now. And I'm not white privileged either. That really pissed me off when somebody said that I was white privileged. I started my apprenticeship in 1980 as an electrician in the World Trade Center. And during that time, the AFL-CIO was big time. You know how many jobs I got passed by because I was white? Tell me, how is that being white privileged? Maybe the rich people I could see, but I grew up in a not wealthy family. We were mostly, I mean, not on the street poor, but we were not well off. So somebody please explain to me how that's white privilege. I knew plenty of black families that lived better than I did. White privileged. Well, please tell me I did it right. Well, Jeff, you got your 2 curse words anyway. There might be another, you never know. But you'll probably end this video before that. Because I'm almost half done now. Once this video's over, I'm going to play the song that I wrote when I was sitting outside. It was it's a happy little song. And my 12 string is my Hellcat is extremely happy right now because it got cleaned. It's getting brand new strings. And yes. And so I wrote a happy little song. And I'm going to title it Happy Hellcat. How fitting. High string first, low string second. Okay. Very confusing on a 12 string. Thank God I never bought a Chapman stick. That has 10 strings, 6 guitar strings, and 4 bass strings. I played one though. Not easy to play, let me tell you. A friend of mine had one. And I've seen Tony Levin play one in I don't know how many different bands. several times with King Crimson. Tony Levin is an amazing musician, amazing bass player, and nobody plays the Chapman stick like he does. No one. No one in the world. He is just truly amazing. And he's played with everyone. I don't even know how many bands I've seen where he was the bass player. I don't know what it is with bass players. They just seem to get, lose their way and bands throw them out or they leave. And Tony Levin's always the one that gets called. He was a studio musician. Now I think if King Crimson still plays as much as they did, and I kind of think they do, Tony Levin, I think, plays with them. If not, then he plays with Adrian Belew, because the two of them definitely belong together. And he was in King Crimson the last few times I saw them. He joined King Crimson during the Discipline album, which I saw that show a few times. It's one of my favorite albums. It's funny too, discipline is something you really have to have when you're doing this, especially when things like one of the pegs turn up missing. It has to be on the floor. Did I lose a string too? If I lost a string, then the peg won't matter. Oh, let me put this down. Since I got new glass. Oh, yeah, there's the peg. There's that. But what did I do with the string? Pray tell. Sometimes I think I'm an imbecile. Remember that song I put out the other day? Fine line between insanity and genius. Well, right now I'm leaning towards insanity because it's a very thin string. But it's copper. How can I not see it? I didn't put it in the garbage, did I? No. Wait. No, that's not it either. No, it's not in the garbage. Oh my God. All right, you got me, Jeff. Here's where I'm cursing. I made it to the very last string, and now I don't know what the hell I did with it. Oh wait, I think I just found it. Ah. Oh, thank God. I still have to fix my small stone, by the way. I have to figure out where the positive and negative leads belong, and then I have to search the place for my soldering pencil. If I don't find my soldering pencil, I'm going to use duct tape. And just very carefully. Because I love that thing. I've never loved the small stone as much as I do now with this guitar. It's never sounded as good on any other guitar like it does on this one. All right. Now, here is going to be... I'm going to put that down there because, as you can tell, I don't have much space in this room. There was a time I covered something from the Scorpions. Can't think of the name of the song. Hold on 1 second. See how I do that? I go 2 pegs up, pull it back down. That's where I cut it. The Zoo, that was the name of the song. And the bass part for that song is about as easy as you can get for bass. It's just a bunch of quarter notes. And I was planning on actually laying my bass down on the floor, and I was going to play the bass with my toes. I was going to play it with my foot. But this room is not wide enough to do that. So I didn't. This is another thing that fucks people up all the time, including me. I have to think about it. Nope. It's this way. I can't tell you how many times I had to restring guitars because I did it backwards. Oh, I guess now would be the good time to put the nut back on too. But we go on this way. I hate that. I don't know why they just don't glue it in place. It makes more sense to me. But I'm not going to glue it in place. Because I guess I do understand why. Because if the nut ever goes bad and it has to be replaced, it's definitely a lot easier if it's not glued on. I wish I knew what I did with my winder. It's probably right behind where I have the camera right now. There's a table that I sit in front of, and I used to put the camera. I used to open up the drawer and prop the camera up on a couple of things in there, and it was just the right height. Well, today you notice the camera's a little higher. I went to the store and I bought something, an iPhone holder. And it looks like, it's like a base, and it holds the phone, and it moves in 360 degrees. So I was like, wow, this is perfect. I need this. So I got it. Also, you never want to go too high at first. My best friend, who actually bought me this guitar, my friend Jack, 25 years younger. He's 25 years younger than me. He was he'll always be my best friend. But I met him. I was with my partner at the time. He was with his. I think he was 17 at the time. Instant friendship. I was in a bad relationship. He was in a bad relationship. If it wasn't for him being under 18, I would have tried to steal him away. And when I told him that, he was like, "You don't know how much I want you to steal me away." Well, now he's married to a female, and he has a son that he loves very much, both of them. I'm very happy for him. But anyway, he's the one who bought me this guitar. He asked me one day, because he knows I lost my best basses. I had a 1992 Fender American Standard 4-string jazz bass, limited edition. I was going to be buried with that bass, and then I told Jack if and when I die, I was going to leave it to him. But pawn shop, as well as my 5-string jazz bass, my 500-watt Gens-Benz head and 410 cabinet, and my 12-string. So when he found out about my 12-string, he went right on to Sweetwater and ordered me this guitar. And, well, you know when I got it, because I unboxed it, and I think I wrote my first song that very day. And I've been writing ever since. Good enough. All right. But I taught Jack how to play bass and guitar, which I believe he still plays. And he wanted to change my strings on my beautiful bass that one day. So I was like, all right, but be careful. Don't tune them up to what you think they should be. Make it a little bit lower and go from there. He's like, oh, don't tell me. I know what I'm doing. You know how smart ass kids are. He was all of, I think, 19 or 20 at the time. So I hear boo, boo, boing. I had to laugh. He looked at me. It was like a look of sheer horror. So I was like, well, Jack, I don't like to be the one to say I told you so. But I did. I did like it. I was expecting it. It was funny. So, but he learned a good lesson that day. You never fucking... There's 3. That's 3 now. You never tune your guitar. You never put that string on as tight as you think it's supposed to be. Because 90% of the times, you're wrong. Maybe not Ian. He's probably, like, I can tune guitars without a tuner, but I have to tune one string against the other. So if my E string is out of tune, my whole guitar is out of tune. This guitar has a tuner built in, so because it's acoustic electric. So I don't have to worry about that. I did get better over the years at it. I could tell when it's like when something's out of tune. That's easy to tell. Like if one string's out of tune, I hear it immediately. That used to happen on my bass sometimes, but what I used to do, like I said, I used to slide around a lot. Well, I didn't only just do that, I used to bend strings too. I would do all sorts of crazy shit on my bass. So, now I think I better start going on the other side, the nuts starting to slide. So what I used to do was, if one of my bass strings was a little out of tune, oh yeah, that's it. No, I don't want that one. If one of my bass strings was a little out of tune, I would either slide the note or bend it to the right note. But that's why I started sliding around a bit. I do it even with this guitar. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed. I play progressions that really, theoretically, should not work. But the way I play the chords, that I don't even know, by the way, they kind of work. Oh, that would have been a big mistake. That would have been a big mistake. That goes here. Oh, I'm glad I caught that one. I'd be winding that forever. But I'm glad it wasn't reversed, because then I'd be screwed. And that's happened to me before too. You ever see a guitar string get tied in a knot? Believe it or not. And it worked. It actually worked. The knot was somewhere up here above the nut, so it's not like it was on the fretboard. See, now I'm confused again because now it's the opposite direction. But I happen to know it's this way. This side is a little easier because you want the string to come down in front of the tuning peg. When it's on the other side, you want it to come down in the back of the tuning peg. So people tend to get confused. And Lord knows, I definitely get confused. I feel like tearing apart this table and seeing if that, I know it's on this table someplace. I might do that after this string, because this side also is much harder because it's farther away, but I get to use my right hand and I'm righty. Who's that calling me? Unrecognized number. I don't answer them. As a matter of fact, my phone, I use text now. I don't use a ringtone. It's silent. Oh, what the oh, it slipped. I hate that too. That's what I liked about my Fender Music Master. That had the slit in it, and in the center it had a hole. So the string went straight down, never ever slipped. That was awesome. This is not. Because once you start winding a string, it's never easy to rewind. It really isn't. Ah, come on, you son of a... Jeff, you're definitely getting your wish. Because I'm getting frustrated. Let me hold it lightly while I... No, wrong way. No, it was the right way. It's probably why it slipped. Because sometimes my name should be Kevin Dumas. I should have changed my name to that for about 46 years. Kevin Dumas. If you don't understand, think of the name Dumas and split it in half. You'll get it. You're all smart people. I have yet to meet a great musician who is not highly intelligent. Never, ever, my whole life. I know I started playing music from an early age. I fell in love with music in first grade when I got my recorder, which I still have somewhere. And I played several instruments. I started to teach myself to play violin. Got much easier when I realized it's strung backwards. But it wasn't mine, and a friend of mine swapped one of my guitars for the violin, so he wanted his violin back, so I gave him back the violin. I got back my guitar, and I prefer this anyway. So, but I was starting to actually play tunes once I realized it's strung G, D, A, E from top to bottom. Before that, it was a nightmare. Okay, that is the right string. I'm praying. What I like to do is find the hole, and in about 1/4 of an inch, I like to put a sharp crease in the string. Kind of helps it so it doesn't slip. A lot of good it did my last one, right? But I think that's because I turned the peg the wrong way. Oh, I said I was gonna look for my thing. I got this far. And once the strings are on, I'm not gonna keep you with me while I tune it. I'm just gonna tune it, and I'm gonna play Happy Hellcat and upload it. I hate this. I really do. Ow! I miss my Music Master with a hole in the middle. I never had to go through this. And it's hard when I have to use 2 hands to get the string around the peg. I drew blood. Oh, come on, don't slip, don't slip, don't slip. Is that the right way? No. That's the right way. Okay. I have to get at least a couple of turns around before I can hold it tight, or it's going to slip. That's very frustrating when the string slips. It's even more frustrating when it slips while you're playing it. That's happened to me too. But not as... Well, I never got frustrated when I broke bass strings while I was playing, because I never seemed to miss a note. I just automatically went... I was in autopilot. Usually drunk most of the time too. I was drinking beer by the pitcher, and I would go into autopilot. So I break my E string and instantaneously figure out the whole song without the E string. I think that's why that guy asked for my autograph. He remembered that. He was there one of the nights that happened. A lot of people came up to me every time that happened. They're like, dude, first off, how the hell do you break not just any string on the bass, but the E string, the heaviest one on a 4-string bass? And I wasn't slapping or popping it or anything. I just have strong fingers. I guess all those years of construction must have done something. I used to move 1,000-pound transformers by myself. My foreman used to yell at me for that. Somebody would come to help me. I'm like, no. It's got to be 4, depending on the voltage, it had to be either 4 or 6 inches away from the wall. So I'm like, no, you're just going to mess me up, so go away. And I would set them myself. And then I would wire them myself. Which is when sometimes I had to get myself in the tiniest little places. I wasn't quite as pregnant as I am now. I'm going to give birth any day, I think. And it was a very long gestation period. My last partner was 3.5, 4 years ago. I have definitely already gone through menopause. So I cannot have kids. It would be a miracle. It'd be funny too, but it would be a miracle. I'd have to change my name to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come on, bitch. Okay. All right. Ow! See when you after you cut the strings? Those edges are very, very sharp. I think I'm bleeding in more than one place. Luckily, I have a very high tolerance for pain. I'm going to bend that this way. When I was an electrician in construction, I did a lot of new construction. Not a day went by that I wasn't covered in blood. A lot of the times I didn't even realize it. People would come over to me and say, "Kev, you're bleeding," and I'd be like, "Where?" "Oh, wow, how'd that happen?" That could be good and bad, I guess. I could bleed to death and not even know I'm bleeding. That wouldn't be good. But I don't think for some reason I'm not allowed to die, so not yet. Because I should have. I've told a few people this, but I've lost count at about 1,334, I think it was. The last time actually, that time I really did die. I died of an overdose. I was dead for 5 minutes. Opened my eyes, and there was my best friend crying. That's when I decided to stop everything. Forgave myself for something that I had nothing to do with. And I kind of stopped everything. Except my Xanax, because I still do suffer from anxiety, so I take my Xanax. And I'll be honest, I go through them a little faster than I should. So sometimes, when you don't see me, and I come back and I say, "Yeah, I'm a little under the weather," withdrawals. I'll tell you something. Benzo withdrawals, I'd rather withdraw from heroin. It's terrible. It was heroin, the one that killed me. And I don't know. Like I said, I blame myself for something that had nothing really to do with me. But that accident was no accident, really. And I had a very strange dream when it happened. So my whole outlook on life changed that day. My whole outlook on death changed that day, too. It's funny, too, that I'm an electrician. Because to me, we are all, in some sort of weird way, we're all related. Life on this planet began, I wrote a song about it, in fact. Life on this planet began in the same pond of goo, somewhere in Pangea, which was what all of this was before the continent split. And then, we all crawled out of that pond of goo and eventually grew legs and stuff like that and wandered off to different places. And continent split, and suddenly there's black people, there's yellow people, there's white people, and religion as a whole. Don't even get me started there. Religion really makes me laugh. I've had Christians tell me I was going to go to hell because I'm Jewish. I found that to be quite funny. I'm like, you better read your Bible again. Jesus was Jewish. He was Jewish at birth, and he was Jewish at death, too. So I kind of find that humorous. Personally, I don't believe in organized religion. I think it's all a ball of crap. Just one more thing to keep us all separated. So I don't buy into it. We're all related. I don't care what color you are. You're that color because your ancestors moved to a part of the world that they had to be that color in order to survive. religion is just something made up. I mean, unless Moses really did go to Mount Sinai and come down with the Ten Commandments. But, I don't know that for fact. I'll never say that there's a heaven. But I will say, yeah,
You almost finished?
I'm almost finished, yeah.
Okay.
It's on 78. So like I was saying, I won't say there's a heaven because I don't know if I buy into that. If there is, I'll be very happy when I get there. If I get there. But I do believe there's something after. Once we go. Everything that's up here, all the synapses in our brain, everything that makes us who we are, or our soul, so to speak, is made of energy. And Einstein proved that energy cannot be destroyed. All it can do is change form. So, I know there's something after. I just don't know what or where it is. For all I know, we could just be incorporeal and just be balls of energy. And, like a science fiction movie. That'd be kind of cool, actually. I can tell you one thing, though. I am certainly not going to be flying around with a harp. If anything, I'll be flying around with this 12-string. Oh, only 3 more strings after this. And then I'll tell you what. I promised my dad I was going to make chicken parmesan subs tonight, and I said it was going to be in an hour. And that was probably more than an hour and a half ago now. And this has been 3 minutes short of an hour so far. So, I'm just going to... Oh, no. Son of a bitch. All right, you know what? I'm going to tighten this string up best I can so it don't slip. And then I'm shutting off the camera because the string I put on before this slipped. Damn it. Jeff, I hope you're having a great laugh. I'm sweating my ass off, too. My dad keeps the air conditioner here on 78. But sometimes I hang out in here at night. I do my recordings, and I'll put it down a bit. But I always put it back. Because this used to be a patio. There is no other AC. It's a window. It's a wall unit. And this is South Florida. And it's summer. So it gets quite hot out here. Oof, my God, my hands are getting tired. Yeah, I'm going to finish. I'm not even going to fix that other string yet. I'll do that after dinner. And then I'm going to record the happy song. Shit. There's another one. I was turning it the wrong way. I started out the right way, and then I went the wrong way. And you know what? I'm really getting tired of this. You see all this mess? You can hear me moving stuff around. I don't even know if it's on this table. But I remember seeing it someplace. And I'm really getting tired of winding strings by hand. Found it. Oh. Now I gotta pray that I turn it the right way. Yes. Alright, maybe I will put the other 2 strings on. I'll fix that 1 string and I'll put the other 2 on. Because this makes it, even though they're a pain in the ass, makes it a lot easier. I used to have something that I used to put in an electric screwdriver. Worked a lot easier. Because these don't fit the pegs exactly right, so it kind of wobbles. And I always hated that. See? Plus, I'm on the opposite side of the guitar, which makes it hard too. And I'm getting really frustrated right now. So that might make it a little easier. Oh yeah, that's better. Why didn't I think of that before? Ooh. scratching my baby. Nothing a Sharpie can't fix. Wouldn't be the first time. Did I put on the... Oh, no. I got the 2 E's. I got the 1 B. I'm gonna have a problem. Oh no, that's... Yeah, I'm gonna have a problem. I just put on a G string instead of a B. Let's pray I can make it reach. Now you know why I don't change 12 strings too often. Yeah, I'll make it reach. That's why I always cut them at least 2 pegs above. So at least I have 1 peg above with this one. I think. Yeah, it'll reach. All right. Let me look at this and make sure I'm correct. That's what I get for trying to rush. This is a B. E, B. Right. That's right. Okay. Oh, what the fuck? 4. I'm counting. Because I'm getting very, very frustrated now. Because I haven't done that. You know what? I'm going to leave that right there for now. Because I'm going to redo this one. Which is not hard, easy, because these curls are in it now, see? It's so hard to change a string when the curls are already there. Give me this. Give me this. I'm gonna hold it. Okay. So much for that idea. Forget it. That's this one actually. Where is that winder? Check. You're not doing that either again. There we go. Nope, I was right the first time. No, that's my E string. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Jump off. By the time I finish making my chicken parmesan subs, I'll be happy enough to play Happy Hellcat. Right now, as a lot of you know, I will not lie. I refuse to lie. I'm not the happiest camper right now. This way. Oh, come on, you son of a bitch. I wonder if Christophe would be watching it. I'll have to curse in French. Garçon de chien. It's about the only French I know. And la plume. Oh no. I could say that I speak French very little. Je parle français, oui un peu. Okay, this one wasn't cut at all because this is the one I skipped. Like Mr. Dumas that I am. You know what, everybody? really listen to Jeff when he says, stay away from drugs. He knows what he's talking about. And you know what? You know what should have told me? I just realized it. The string I messed up on was the one that I may have to cover up the scratch with a Sharpie. That's what I get for making a mistake. I know who's really laughing if he's watching it. Marshall. Marshall's probably pissing his pants right now if he's watching this whole thing. I know I would be. He's made a couple of videos that made me laugh in the past. But what he does is amazing. I mean, I've watched him do electronic stuff. I can't do it. I have to find the diagram for my small stone just so I know where to put my positive and negative. And I don't always remember which color is which, too. I think red is positive and black is negative. Yeah, I think that's right. I'm an electrician. I can supply the power that makes electronics work. Electronics? It's a little above my pay grade. Although once upon a time, before many years of drugs, I wanted to be an astrophysicist. And when I was in the 3rd grade, all my teachers thought that I would be. Because you know how they give you the test in the 3rd grade, reading levels, math levels, and all that. Well, they were astonished at mine. In the 3rd grade, they found I was reading at college level. And I had a high school math level. And then an unfortunate thing happened shortly before my bar mitzvah. And the next 46 years was history. Until nearly 3 years ago, and I became this person, who I like much better. All right. This is going to be the moment of truth, I think. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. This was the wrong one, right? Yeah, because this goes first and then that one. Good. I'm glad I have plenty. I'll make this work. Nothing is impossible. The impossible just takes a little longer. Those words got me far in life. I've done things that most people thought were truly impossible. I was really good at bending conduits as an electrician. Told the foreman on a job when I lived in the Poconos. He was an idiot. He really was. He was an idiot. I just didn't want to tell him to his face. But I told him how I was going to run the conduit. It was a tricky bend. I had to bend a 90, but the 90 had to have a kick on both sides. So it came off the wall over a pipe and back on the wall. Guy made a big mistake. He said, "You can't do that. That's impossible." Not the thing to say to me. And that's what I told him. I was like, "Dude, that is not the thing to say to me. Now go away. I'll call you when I'm done." He came back about 15 minutes later. He looked up in amazement. And he's like, "How did you do that?" I was like, "You're the foreman. You figure it out." I couldn't stand that guy. He was a schmuck. He wasn't a good electrician either. And couldn't bend pipe to save his ass. That's for sure. Me and bending conduit is kind of like my music. I consider it a work of art. I actually, the company I work for, Pomeroy Electric, we built NBC6 studios in Miramar, Florida. And I had to put all the conduit in under the raised floor in the newsroom. I had 3 circuit breaker panels feeding the same conduit system. Well, by the time I got done, if you took the blueprint and went up on the, I forget what you call it now. Words escape me sometimes. I'm getting old. But it's upstairs, you know. And if the blueprint was a transparency and you held it over, all my conduit was within the lines. I had, it was funny. I had architects, engineers, inspectors, all sorts of people coming to me and shaking my hand and just couldn't believe the job I did. And almost everybody in my company, including my boss. To me, it's just, you know, I took pride in my work, so I did what had to be done. And it was like drawing in a coloring book and staying within the lines. I tell people that sometimes when they do covers, because some of you guys really do covers so well that it's like drawing in a coloring book and you stay within those lines. I can't say the same for myself because I don't play solos. My rhythms, pretty damn close, but depending on who they are and what they are. In the beginning when I did all covers, no, some of them were just god awful. But they were entertaining. I even made myself laugh. That's why I kept doing it. It was like a challenge. I would learn a song by ear, and about within 30 to 40 minutes, I'd be uploading it. Those strings look a little far apart. If I break a string, I'm gonna really be mad. And that looks like it belongs there. No, that needs to go over a little bit more. I did do it right. Is it the nut? Yeah, it was the nut. I don't know. It'll all fall into place eventually. I'll probably have to loosen these a little bit more. I probably made them a little bit too tight. Alright, now I can go back to here and put the last 3 strings on. Which I know this one. Wait a second. No, I made a big mistake somewhere. That's the E. This is the A. Oh, no. This is the A. And these two are D. Okay. Never mind. Like I said, it gets confusing. 6 strings are bad enough. 12. Especially when you're on both sides of the headstock. Thank God they don't make 12-string guitars with Floyd Rose floating bridges on them. I would never, ever own one. Unless somebody else was gonna string it and tune it for me. Do I wanna go that way? Yeah, it doesn't matter really, I can twist it. High, low, okay, yeah. See how confusing it is? I have to constantly remind myself. But you know what? This guitar is well worth it. Oh no, caught it. Started going the wrong way. I hope I didn't do that on that side, because that would have made my strings come out not straight like that. Okay. Oh. Oh my God, I'm losing it. Okay, now for the high D. something, I never use, I didn't put the first set of strings on this, so, and it's been a while since I had a 12 string, but I don't remember my high A string not being wound. It probably wasn't. I just don't remember. The D and the G, yeah. And the B's and the E's, of course. But it must be because the only wound higher of the two strings is the E. So it must be right. Thank God. After these two, I'm not even tuning it. I'm going to go make dinner. And then I'm going to tune it. And I'm going to play tonight's upload. Happy Hellcat. I love that name. I thought of it while I was sitting outside playing it. I was like, this is a happy kind of song. And then I looked at the guitar and I said, you know what? My baby's going to be really happy because I'm cleaning it and changing the strings. That's it. Happy Hellcat. It's like a contradictory in a name, but okay. Sometimes that's a real bitch, just getting the second time around, because you can't just go once. It never works. It always slips out. That's why I miss my old Fender with the hole in the middle. Where the string went straight down. That, I never ever had a problem changing strings on. Strings never slipped. Yay! Boy, that's attitude. I have a feeling some of them are a little higher than they should. I did exactly what I told you all not to do. But I didn't break any. Just used the wrong ones. And I dropped a piece of a string. I'm sure my barefoot will find it later. Thank God I have a high threshold for pain. Man. Come on. There we go. That's gonna want to go that way and around this way. Hey, I got it around twice. It's awesome. There we go. And now I can shut that off and Jesus, this has been an hour and 18 minutes so far. I should have made this a live stream. I'm just gonna tighten this up so it doesn't slip, and I'm shutting this off, and Jeff, it's up to you how much of this you want to put on the show, if any of it. But I think you'll like the song that I'm gonna play when I'm done eating dinner. You might want to play it on Friday. Maybe. I wrote a couple of good songs the last few days. But according to everybody that leaves me comments, everything I write is good, so I like them all. Of course, I like some more than others, but the really funny part is, before I overdosed and actually died, that strange dream I had was of my mom, and she told me, no, you have a lot of work yet to do. And that's when my eyes opened, and my friend was crying, told me I was dead for 5 minutes. I was blue, he had to breathe for me, and then suddenly, after losing my pulse 5 minutes earlier, my eyes just opened, just like, la-di-da. And I think this is what my mother meant. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Inspiring people, encouraging people, especially young people, making sure they don't make the same mistakes I did, that's for sure. And it's paying off. A lot of them are getting really good. So, without any further ado, I'm going to say, see you in a little bit, because I'm going to go make dinner, and then I'm going to tune this, not that, that's my bass. I'm going to tune this up. I got to put strings, got strings for that too. I'm going to tune that up, and I will be uploading my new tune today. So, you'll see me in a little bit.